Winter comes 7 months since the May earthquake. What are the survivors doing? Come with me to find out what they need and how we can help them.
7 months ago, China suffered its worst earthquake in a generation. Nearly 70,000 people died in the Wenchuan earthquake and 20,000 have never been accounted for. In the following week, CCTV International takes a closer look at how the survivors are coping in the first winter since May's disaster. In our first episode of Revisiting Wenchuan, Han Bin goes back to Yingxiu, one of the worst hit towns. As he finds out, reconstruction is on the way, yet psychological recovery is perhaps the most difficult of all.
Going back to Yingxiu, the epicenter of the Wenchuan earthquake. 7 months on, what was once a prospering village in the upper reaches of the Minjiang River still looks like a battlefield. It lost nearly 6,000 people, about a third of its population. Most are buried on this hill. Chen Guoping came here to remember his sister Chen Guochun and her husband Wu Tao. He was told their bodies were buried on the mountain, but it's impossible to know exactly where.
There is no way to find them, but they know I miss them.
It's more difficult for children who lost their classmates to move on. The graves are a constant reminder. 11-year-old Yang Chen-xi and his friends came here to mourn their lost classmates every weekend. The magnitude 8 quake took the lives of hundreds of children in Yingxiu. 30 of them were Yang Chen-xi's classmates.
I think we have our own way out, to be optimistic one day.
Today, Yang Chen-xi and his classmates resume study at this tent school. He says he wants to be an architect and help build a more beautiful hometown.
This massive stone hurtled down from mountains during the quake. Today it serves as a reminder and memorial for Yingxiu. The name of the town is carved on it. And people say this reminder of the disaster also serves as a trophy of their strength to face difficulties.
An official told me that after overall assessments, they are planning to raise a new Yingxiu in the same location. The current priority is building permanent homes for survivors.
We plan to rebuild Yingxiu into a quake memorial park known around the world and make the new town one that is modern, environmentally friendly and beautiful.
Community living is one of the practical solutions for survivors. Though many farmers aren't used to living in such close quarters with other families, they understand it's a cost-effective way to get a new home. Ding Changwen says though he's lost his farmland, he's still a farmer. But he will become a migrant worker in the future as the rebuilt village will become a tourist area.
I support joint resettlement. I know the biggest advantage is saving farmland.
But for the majority of the locals, they will be spending this winter and perhaps the following ones in the temporary shelters. Ma Daohong's family have been living here for months. They want life to move forward.
As we have survived the earthquake, we should be motivated and try our best to rebuild our homes and have better lives.
But Ma acknowledges that one day they will be reluctant to leave the shelter, as it's all they have for the time being.
The difficulties in rebuilding their lives and finding employment are taking their toll. In some severely affected areas like here in Yingxiu, most families lost someone. Many are still suffering psychologically. Giving them the long-term care they need will be a major challenge. Han Bin and Li Wei, CCTV, Sichuan Province.
More than 7 months after the devastating earthquake hit Sichuan Province, resettlement plans are taking shape in most of the affected areas. In our second story of our special series, Revisiting Wenchuan, Han Bin takes us to one village to see how things are unfolding. As he finds out, though China has won world acclaim for its efficient rescue and relief work, it's relocation and resettlement that poses the biggest challenge.
Building homes, the start of resettlement. Farmers from Mato village are being relocated here in a different style of housing suggested by the government. The design comes from Taiwan architect Yingxiu. Though common in Taiwan, it's new for Mato.
Our steel structure building works similarly to the traditional wood and brick structure. The only difference is that my design is much higher and the materials used are cheaper.
Yingxiu says his building is stronger but lighter. The green concept complies with the international trend.
Survivors are particularly sensitive to space and they need a comfortable place to stay. Yingxiu's design seems to take all this into consideration.
But there are things Xie didn't foresee. Villager Jinshu Fang argues that the cost of the new building is much greater than he had expected. Yingxiu showed him how to use cheaper materials like bamboo strips, but Jin's problem is more than a lack of skills.
I don't like this concept, but I can't oppose the relocation program of our village. Our biggest problem is lack of funds. We're preparing some materials for the completion work next year, but I have to borrow money for relocating now.
Jinshu Fang showed me his old house, about 3 kilometers from the new site. Most villagers like him have lost their farmland, the basis of their livelihoods as farmers. Even when their new homes are finished, they have to go elsewhere to find work. The village head says farmers are reluctant to leave their old houses. Rebuilding takes time, and money is always a worry.
The biggest problem for resettlement in our village is funding. Many farmers can't afford the cost of rebuilding their homes. Many can only finish the steel structure or the ground floor.
Until building is finished, the villagers have to live in these shacks.
The government has provided about 1 million temporary homes. Most are like military tents, and most survivors have to make do with them for years. But villagers here in Mato have making things into their own hands to suit themselves.
Jinshu Fang built this shack by himself. It's damp, small, and cold. But it holds all 5 of his family members. They managed to salvage some of their belongings. The May earthquake has changed their lives forever. Mato's mountain location means resettlement depends on villagers themselves. Jinshu Fang hopes this will be the only winter they spend here. He dreams that support from the outside could help warm up their lives. Han Bin and Li Wei, CCTV, Sichuan Province.